Hi guys, I'm Shruti and today's video is about goal setting for career objectives. Now, this is something I used to really struggle with because I used to constantly set unrealistic goals for myself and feel like I'm lagging behind and I'm not doing enough and constantly demotivated and most importantly unhappy all the time. So I decided that I'm going to reflect on what my choices are and what is going wrong so that I can make better decisions to know what suits my personality, what suits my career goals, and what makes sense for me basically. So I have divided this whole process into 4 parts, which I think really helped me. So the first one is that whenever I approach any decision that I take for my career, I always try to backtrack it. So what happens is that it just gives me more clarity when I set the end goal and then track it back to today and then do things today to make myself reach there. So let's say my end goal is going to be to have a business of my own, which is my dream since I don't know, maybe 10 years plus now. So if I know my end goal is that, it just becomes easier for me to know that okay, that's where I want to be, but then today I cannot go and start my own business. What I can do is that to be able to do it in the future, I can do things today to make me more competent for the same. So when I backtrack my career like that, I know today I need exact few skills to be a better businesswoman in the future. So for me, for example, it was communication, negotiation, business skills that were really important, which is why I enrolled myself into a B school abroad. But then other than that, I realized that it's really important in today's age to have phenomenal marketing and sales efforts to run your own business. So what I did was that I decided that I'm going to achieve these skills but from a professional environment so that it can be more handy for me to apply it in my own business. Now, this is not the career choice that I wish to make for the long term in the future, but then that is something I need to do today to be able to fulfill my dreams in the future. So I took a decision to work in the sales department for a startup so that I also get to thrive in the ecosystem which is growing at a phenomenal level, so that I get to see how other functions also work and how the startup culture in general works, to learn from experts who are doing really great work. Coming to the second point, which is realistic timelines. What I do is that I give myself realistic timelines now. Previously, what I used to do was that actually I'm going to share a personal story with you here. So the moment I graduated, I started thinking about starting my own business. So at that time, I knew no better. I knew that I wanted to have my own business like I do today also. But I thought, this is it, I need to start something soon, and I went all in. I started looking at funding options, I started looking at business options, but then not realizing that there's much more than that in the process for me to be equipped to be able to run the kind of business that I was planning to run back then. Today, what I do is that I just have the patience to set realistic timelines for myself. So when it comes to the sales job that I am currently doing, I am doing it for 2 years, for example, and now in these 2 years, all my focus goes on extracting maximum value from what I'm doing today in the next 2 years and not worry about what happens later, because I know when I made the whole decision, it was to get me closer to my long-term goal, right? And now coming to the third thing, which is about the role models. Now I know that not every person has a role model in the sense that guides them. But then what I do with my role model, what I mean for my role model is that I go on LinkedIn, I try to spot people who have similar careers to what I wish to have in the future. Now for me, if it's going to be a successful businessman or a woman, it could be a partner at a consulting firm for you, or an artist who is doing phenomenal in their lives, or anything that you wish to be in the future. So I try to spot those people and then I try to backtrack their careers on the basis of what's mentioned on LinkedIn. So whenever I see successful business owners, I try to see what was it that they were doing before they set up their business. I see the kind of jobs they were doing. I see the kind of education they achieved, so that I can make sense out of the paths a lot of business people have taken to make sense and draw similarities. That, you know, if I see that most of the business people were associated to something related to sales in the past, it just makes sense for me to also do it, because it's just going to help me. Same thing can be for any kind of role that you are looking for. And of course, this is not the stencil that you need to follow the exact same conventional path to make it your goal, but it just helps to give structure if you don't know what you exactly should do today, because it's a big decision, and I completely understand that you feel the need to do the right things. So it could be a good idea to always get inspired by others till you build your own path. Now, the last point is that it's very, very important to assess the goal that you're working towards currently. The kind of focus I have on my short-term goal is the predominant one, even though I come up with ideas of what I should do after the short-term period that I've decided for myself ends, but I don't try to channelize my energy into it so that I get distracted from the short-term goal. It's something I believe in, that it always helps when you try to do things one by one rather than trying to take all the mountain upon yourself and feel like you couldn't carry the burden. So these were the things that I always try to remember. Now, to share my personal story, when I enrolled myself into a B school, I had the most conventional idea for myself because I knew I wanted to do a business, but then I had failed once because things did not work out. I always thought that maybe I'm just meant to do a job in finance because that's what I studied in my undergrad, and I thought that's really prestigious, and of course it's a really good job. It's really interesting to work in a VC or a PE or IB in general. That's what I wanted to put myself into. But then I always constantly knew that I still wanted to have a business of my own. So it was really easy for me to get swayed when I saw people who were applying at bigger companies and really cool roles. I always felt that, why am I taking a different route? But it did not align with my career. It's great to work for a bigger company because you get to learn so much from experts who have worked in the industry for so long. It also gives you a lot of global exposure, but then it did not make sense for me. So to be able to gather the courage to apply only for smaller companies and only for mid-sized company, because I wanted that environment for myself, and secondly, applying for a role which is not the most obvious role that people apply for, it was a little difficult for me to get my head around it. But then since I knew what I'm doing because of the 4 topics that I mentioned, it was easier for me to stay calm and believe that my process is going to be okay. And to be able to feel confident, I used to constantly talk to my role models, who have been people that I know from India, sometimes from LinkedIn. I also have some mentors who are entrepreneurs in various parts of the world, again through LinkedIn, no other connection, who I constantly try to ask questions and set up calls with and meetings with to reconfirm what I'm doing, to feel confident that it's all good. And it has really helped me stay in a better mindset in general. So that's why I thought that I should just talk about it and share my journey with you guys. Now, of course, goal setting is completely personal process, so feel free to take up things if it made sense to you from what I said. Of course, you can build your own set of rules, and of course even mine can change after 2 years, you never know. But this is what I do right now, and I hope this was helpful. Now, if you have any other question, you can definitely feel free to comment down below or reach me through my social media channels. So that was about it for today's video, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for listening. Bye bye.